What's up, everyone? College basketball is finally about here. Guys, this is my first official college basketball video of the 2023-24 season. I hope you guys are excited for a brand new season of crazy things that happened. Last year was crazy. We'll see what we can have happen, I guess, in a way. I'm at a loss of words trying to think here, but basically, hope you guys are doing well. This is my first one of the season. Expect a lot of content this year. I lacked that severely last season. I'm gonna try and change it. Be doing different videos and stuff, so keep an eye out for what's to come. I'll try to have a little schedule going or something along those lines. But the last tournament we had, the most recent one, was one of the craziest ones in history. Will be more tame this upcoming March Madness, or is it going to be similarly crazy? Because I mean, it was complete madness. Is honestly not big enough of a word to describe the last March Madness tournament we just had. But here we go. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my preseason rankings review. We're going to talk about who's in the early top 25. A lot of you probably have already seen it, but I'm going to kind of tell you who I kind of like a little bit. And my watch list for this season. I'm going to have about 6 teams or so to watch for this season. But with the top 25, I'm going to give a brief description of kind of what's going on with them and kind of what I think about. Let's get straight into it. It's going to be a longer video, but oh yeah, most importantly, like and subscribe if you like this stuff. So here we go. The preseason AP poll. These are the teams who were on the cusp. So let's go from bottom right to the top left in order. New Mexico, Jamal Mashburn, and what's the other guy's name? I think Jalen House. I'm not sure, but New Mexico has some of their main guys returning from last year. New Mexico could challenge the Mountain West this year. Drake, Florida, Charleston, IU. By the way, rest in peace, Bobby Knight, one of the greatest ever, no question about it. IU, hopefully they'll have a good season, hoping so. They lost a lot of good talent last year. Boise State, we'll see about them. Missouri, strange team last year. I'm not sure what to expect from them this year. Memphis, I'm just going to tell you, Memphis was on my watch list until DeAndre Williams' eligibility got denied. Memphis could still be a threat, though, to be sneaky this year. We'll see. Keep an eye on them this year, especially in the AAC with Florida Atlantic. We'll talk about them later in this video. Xavier, Freeman's still not healthy. That's a problem. Kansas State, Naquan Tomlin got arrested. That's not good. Mississippi State, TCU, Auburn. They still have Janine Broome. I think Auburn's a little bit of a interesting team there. Virginia, I'm not really into this year. Maryland, I think Maryland's not getting talked about enough. We'll talk about them more in a little bit, potentially. They have honestly a pretty good team. UCLA, I don't know about their offense this year. Their defense should still be one of their better qualities. St. John's, a lot of talk with St. John's. Rick Pitino back in the Power 5 conference realm. Colorado might be underrated. Wisconsin, I'm not sure about Wisconsin. They got Tyler Wall, but they're going to need some other production. So number 25 is Illinois. Now, I think Illinois has been one of the more overrated teams the last couple of years. Despite all the talent they have had, they have failed to meet expectations in the tournament. Okay, they haven't been in the Sweet 16s in years. Many years. They still have Dane Danger, Terrence Shannon, and Coleman Hawkins. They didn't shoot the three well last year. They were very inconsistent. Early in the year, though, they were looking like a really robust team with a lot of good chemistry, but they were just so off. So this season, I don't know what you're going to get. No Matthew Meyer anymore, so we'll see. 24 is Alabama. Alabama this year, I don't know what to expect from this team. They got quite a few new guys like Aaron Estrada from Hofstra. Mark Sears is still the team. You have Rylan Griffin, Grant Nelson from North Dakota State. A lot of roster turnover, but of course Nate Oates landing high-level impact transfers this season. And also five-star recruit Jared Stevenson. And Rylan Griffin's poised for a bigger role. So Alabama, I'm not expecting them to win the SEC. This stream's going to let you know that right now. They might be in the upper tier of the SEC potentially, but that's what the best is going to get from them. 23 St. Mary's. St. Mary's, I think, has been a bit underrated. Randy Bennett has built a consistent NCAA tournament team with slowdown fits of a defense. They still have Aiden Mahoney, Alex Dukas, Augustus Marciulianis. I definitely butchered that last name. I absolutely apologize about that. 3 key returnees from last season, of course. Mitchell Saxon as well. This is a well-rounded machine. Don't be surprised if St. Mary's ends up being a higher seed again this year. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, and they have some crafty offense too. 22's Villanova. They are criminally ranked too low, in my opinion. I like this Villanova team this year. If they stay healthy, Villanova could be a dark horse this season. Justin Moore back. Hopefully he'll stay healthy. Eric Dixon, big man Eric Dixon anchoring. Tyler Burton from Richmond's a huge pickup. He scores a lot from last season. TJ Bamba and Hakeem Hart. So the versatility has been Villanova's name of the game for years, of course, obviously, with Jay Wright. Hopefully Kyle Neptune will avoid a repeat of they missed a tournament for the first time since 2012 this past season, so they had a lot of the transfer portal was big news this offseason. I mean, you're talking many teams, especially the top teams, who really had to hammer the transfer portal because a lot of big time names left said schools. 21 is USC. I like this USC team. I actually do like them a bit more than I have from last year. If Brian James plays, the versatility of this team is sky high. Boogie Ellis is huge. Isaiah Collier, who was number 1 in the ESPN 100. Kobe Johnson, Joshua Morgan. USC's perimeter could be lethal this season. They will challenge Arizona in the Pac-12, especially this season. I can see USC being a real threat to be a second weekend tournament team, especially. 20 is Baylor. I'm not high on Baylor this year at the moment. I want to see how they do because last year their defense was awful. But they were able to score, but now they lost LJ Cryer, so Scott Drew kind of has to start from scratch at the perimeter. But you got 2 impact freshmen, Jacoby Walter and Miro Little. You give back Langston Love. You also have Jonathan Chachua, who apparently slimmed down 20 pounds. Rajay Dennis, Jaden Nunn, and Jacoby Walter especially is going to really have to step up and help, especially with even getting Baylor's defense back to its roots in a way, I guess you could say, from 2 years ago, because they had arguably had the best defense in the 20 international championship season. Number 19 is North Carolina. It's the same story with this damn team. Is the chemistry going to be consistent? Because we have seen the last couple of years this team completely is devoid of consistency. When they made the Final Four, that was when everybody was on the same page. Caleb Love was playing well. He was shooting threes like no tomorrow. But last year, they became the first preseason number 1 team to miss a tournament, I think, ever in history or since the 60s, one of the two. Either way, North Carolina still has Armando Bacot. They have R.J. Davis. They got Cormac Ryan. If Hubert Davis can't do it this year especially, there's something wrong. He's got to figure it out because then we're going to start wondering if that 2021 run was kind of a bit of a fluke. Some people might argue that. Number 18 is Texas. I think Texas is also way too low on this list. But then again, though, it's kind of understandable because you lost a couple key pieces last year, but Rodney Terry is a coach that really made this team excel last year, especially in the wake of the firing of Chris Beard. A lot of uncertainty with this team. What he did and them getting back Tyrese Hunter. You also got Max Asmus, who is with Oral Roberts. This is crazy. If Dylan DeSue gets healthy and Cade Shedrick does as well, I think Texas is a possible Final Four team this year. Love this team. They have a lot of, you want to talk about versatility, this team has a dangerous perimeter, and I think defensively they're one of the better teams in the country. 17, speaking of defensive teams, San Diego State. I do not think San Diego State is going to finish in the top 25 potentially. They might fall out of it, honestly. They do not have nearly the firepower they had, the star power from last season's national run to the national championship. It fell short against UConn. I got to be honest. San Diego State last year, they were well overdue for a deep run, but the way they made their run known last year was impressive, like beyond impressive. Offensive efficiency was really the name of the game with them. Now, you have leftover player Lamont Butler, but you also have Reese Dixon Waters from USC and Jaden Ledee. But they brought back 4 guys who saw at least 17 minutes in the title game, including 2 stars Darian Trammell and Final Four hero Lamont Butler. Yeah, Reese Dixon Waters won Pac-12 Sixth Man of the Year before, so San Diego State probably still the favorite to win the Mountain West, but they're going to have some heavy competition. Number 16 is Kentucky. I originally thought Kentucky was too high, but the thing is, this is a different Kentucky team we've seen. It seems like the last several Kentucky teams, especially with some of them, they have a really young team. Some of these include some more experienced college players, like Antonio Reeves. Here's kind of the summary of Kentucky. I'll read it to you. While questions remain over the experience and youth in this season's Kentucky squad, but yeah, there is some youth to this team as well. I should have mentioned that. I was reading it. But there's been a lot to remember with this, so I apologize. There are no doubts about the talent level in Lexington. In ESPN's 2024 mock draft, the Wildcats have two of the five highest-ranked college players, Justin Edwards and DJ Wagner. Five players: Edwards, Wagner, Ugana Onyinso, Aaron Bradshaw, Robert Dillingham, ranked out inside the top 42 overall. Does not include veterans Antonio Reeves or Trey Mitchell, who should both start for John Calipari this season. So I would like to think Kentucky could mold into a pretty solid top 25 team this year. But we'll see. Could this offense be a bit more dynamic? Yes. Because I felt like with Kentucky, especially towards the end of the 2021-22 season and through part of 2022-23, this offense was a bit, I don't want to call it stagnant, but it wasn't as efficient as you would like it to be. 15's Texas A&M. Texas A&M is going to be one of my dark horse teams this year. Texas A&M is bringing back all the team, basically. This is Buzz Williams' time for a Final Four run. We'll see. This is a really dangerous team. More on that in a minute. 14's Arkansas. Arkansas, I have only a few things to say really quick. Eric Musselman's one of the best coaches right now. Transfer portal king. Arkansas has a good team. They have a really good team, in my opinion. Trayvon Mark from Houston. Are you kidding me? Trayvon Mark, you have a really good player from Houston who is also going to be able to help you defend as well. Trayvon Brazil, he needs to be healthy. Makai Mitchell, Khalif Battle from Temple. I really like this Arkansas team. They have another shot at being a second weekend tournament team at the potentially as well. They brought in 7 transfers and 2 top 30 recruits. Season's performance likely rests on the development of Devontae Devo Davis, the health of Trayvon Brazil, and the immediate impact of Trayvon Mark. Musselman knows how to work a team. I think they're going to find chemistry pretty quickly. 13 is Miami. I need to apologize about Miami because I really kind of thought they were overrated going to tournament last year, and they kind of, to me, looked like a team that could have lost in the first round. But you know what? I was a bit stupid thinking that. You know what? Miami just is the coaching, especially Jim Larinaga. He deserves so much more credit than I feel like some people give him. He's so underrated. He's the same guy who took George Mason to the Final Four last year. Miami, I mean, they got Nigel Pack, Luka Poplar, Norchad Omir. They also brought in Matt Cleveland from Florida State. The perimeter offense, I think, should still be mainly pretty strong. But losing Isaiah Wong and Jordan Miller definitely hurt in a way. But if he ain't going to need a whole. I don't think this team's going to need a whole lot of help with extra help from the perimeter because they already have a really good nucleus with the starting 5. Projected starting 5. 12 is Arizona. Arizona is a laughingstock, dude. I'm not kidding. This better be the damn season where this team does something, because if they don't, I swear I will never take them seriously again. Last year, I had them no further than the Sweet 16 because of the matchup against Creighton I thought was going to happen. It didn't. Arizona got Caleb Love. They have Keishad Johnson. They got Kylan Boswell. They got Jaden Bradley as well. And Omar Ballo. This is a team that should be able to play a little bit of better defense, especially with Keishad Johnson. And Caleb Love, there's some questions, man. Caleb Love may not be consistent. He had this issue with North Carolina. It was only when he started getting going, that's when North Carolina really found their upper range in the tournament 2 years ago, or 2 tournaments ago. So Arizona better find it. I'm telling you. They better find their defense this year because I haven't seen it. Really haven't seen it a whole lot, especially last year. Princeton really slowed them down and shut them down. So they would like to erase the stain of that for sure. Number 11 is Gonzaga. I have some questions about Gonzaga this year, especially considering revolving around Ryan Nimhard and Graham Ike from Wyoming. Ryan Nimhard, he was a little disappointing last season. He's had a little bit of an injury issue. I mean, he hurt his wrist again in the previous tournament, but will Nimhard be able to make an immediate impact? I think he should. Mark Few knows how to coach up a team very well. Graham Ike missed all of last season with an injury. He will be rusty as start, that's for sure, most likely. But Nolan Hickman and Anton Watson is huge. You also have Steele Venters. Anton Watson's been like a two-way guy who can do both ends, who can basically take care of his deal on both ends of the spectrum with offense and defense. But losing Drew Timmy, especially, and Julian Strother, those are two big losses. But Mark Few always finds a way to rebuild this team. Can they still be a high seed and not lose in the first round? That's the question. Top 10, Florida Atlantic's number 10. Florida Atlantic was quite the story last tournament. They are not a Cinderella team. They are a legit dangerous threat. They got back John L. Davis and Elijah Martin. They moved up to the AAC. I think they're the real deal. I think Florida Atlantic might have another 31 season, honestly, before the tournament even starts. They were 31-3 going into the tournament. It very well could happen again. This is a team that is just, it's crazy. I mean, the way their style of play from last season, it was described best by a YouTube channel that I watched, CW Sports Nation. Shout out to them, by the way. They're really good. Their stuff described as more of a platoon style of play. And Florida Atlantic, Dusty May, this is a real threat of a team. Also, too, they make a lot of comebacks in terms of still they won those games. Number 9 is Tennessee. I hate to tell you this, but I think Tennessee is overrated. I think they're almost overrated top 10 team in this list. Tennessee literally has about the same cast last year, starting 5 cast, predicted starting 5 cast kind of in the way as last year. Both the main guys like Vescovi and when Zakai Ziegler gets available, and then Josiah Jordan James. Tennessee, last season, I would say by like end of January, they were looking like one of my possible Final Four teams. And then Zakai Ziegler gets hurt. Tennessee falls off a cliff, but then they make the Sweet 16. They should have technically beat Florida Atlantic. But the thing is, though, Tennessee's defense mainly will be there for them. It's always their offense. I don't know what it is, but this team, Tennessee, is just a strange team to me. They also got Dalton Nett from Northern Colorado. They also have Jonas Idu. So basically, Rick Barnes, knowing his team needed to improve on the offensive end, this has been a story for a while, I feel like, because Tennessee at times, they literally struggle on offense at the worst times. An elite defensive team for the past 3 years, so he brought in Dalton Nett from Northern Colorado and Jordan Gainey from South Carolina Upstate to boost the perimeter shooting and scoring. So, and obviously Vescovi's a veteran shooter, so we'll see. Number 8 is Creighton. Now we're starting to get into potential national championship contenders talk. Some of you are going to look at me like, what are you talking about? If you don't know what Creighton's got, you better figure it out quick. Because I'm telling you, Creighton, in my opinion, is one of the most lethal basketball teams. They're going to be one of the most lethal teams. If you say healthy, they're extremely dangerous. They are going to have one of the best offenses in the country. Can they defend? Defense was a little bit of a question with this team last year at times, but the bigger questions were fouling and scoring depth with their bench. But they brought in Stephen Ashworth. That is a major pickup. I don't think some people realize how huge of a pickup that was. Ashworth, who was at Utah State, they brought back Baylor Shireman. They have Trey Alexander and Ryan Kalkbrenner. What else do you need me to say? Creighton, very dangerous. I have them win the Big East this year. 7 is Houston. I like Houston, but I'll tell you this. They concern me a little bit. I feel like Houston's weaknesses could show a bit more than people think this year. Now, I'm not saying they're overrated. I do like this team. They got LG Cryer. They still have Jamal Shed, Emmanuel Sharp, Damian Dunn from Temple, but they need Juwan Roberts now to really step up. You don't have Jarris Walker anymore. So the biggest question mark is their transition to the Big 12. They're going to have some really tough games. I mean, they face Kansas twice next season, or this upcoming season, because there are very few holes in the roster. Sampson replaced Marcus Sasser and Tremont Mark with Cryer and Dunn, while double-figure scorers Jamal Shed and Juwan Roberts are both back. Emmanuel Sharp could be a reliable wing scorer, along with Houston continuing its dominant rebounding and defense. Houston's been one of the best rebounding teams the last couple of years. Can they keep their stronghold even in a very tough conference? Yet to be determined. Number 6 is UConn. UConn's still a good team, but in my opinion, they are not going to make a deep run this season, probably. Usually the national champion, defending national champion, they don't do anything. No, they don't usually go very far in the tournament, but I think their roster speaks for itself. They still have quite a few key pieces. Alex Karabin, Donovan Clingan. Clingan's getting healthy now. Tristan Newton. But the way that they're kind of... The movement on the court, especially with how they were using Sonogo last year, made them so hard to stop because UConn played so physical and they played very big across the entire court. And with the three-point shooting from Hawkins and the other guys, they were unstoppable. That's why they were so dominant in the tournament. Arguably the most dominant tournament run in history based on scoring a victory, a margin of victory. But we'll see. We'll see. Could they lose some of that interior power? Definitely. Absolutely. Number 5 is Marquette. Here's the thing with Marquette. It's Shaka Smart for me. I don't trust him. Never will. This is a guy that has not been to the second weekend of an NCAA tournament since 2011, when VC went to the Final Four. He still has most of his team. Tyler Kolek is one of the best guards in the country. I think, in a way, them losing Maxis Prosper, though, it's going to hurt them a little bit. But they also have 3 other starters back as well. Also a 6-man David Joplin. This is a team that'll have an efficient offense. They'll be able to play some key defense. But the thing is, though, too, down the stretch near the end of last season, when they got to the Big East tournament, especially against St. John's, man, they were like, when they got flustered, they got thrown way off. So, yeah, we'll see. Number 4 is Michigan State. Michigan State, defense and three-point shooting. I think that's pretty much a lock of what we're going to see a bit from this team this year. Because that's what's special they showed in the last season. So I would expect some of that to linger into this season, obviously. Defense has been a true identity of this team for a while. They have all their team back. One thing I would like to see more of from Michigan State is more explosiveness on the interior. Because there were times where their shooting percentages their offense wouldn't be doing a whole lot. I want to see them really get better on the interior this season, because there were some games last year that I was kind of like, what in the hell are they doing? But they made themselves known, obviously, in that Sweet 16 game against Kansas State, where they were able to really, I don't know, what I'm trying to say, especially with Mady Sissoko, really get a dominant big man going, especially. I think this could be a breakout season for him, especially. Tyson Walker, AJ Hogard, what we call, the rest is history. Number 3 is Purdue. I hate this team. Don't even do it. Don't even get me started with this team. You know what? All I'm going to say is if Purdue were to just win the whole thing this season, I'm going to be so pissed, because that would be just the most Virginia thing to do. Lose to a 16 and then win the whole thing next year. What is it gonna be? We're gonna have a dominant regular season through much of the regular season, and then kind of look like we're falling off the grid a little bit, and then we'll kind of show that we're still good enough to make a deep run, and then we just drop off the face of the earth in the tournament? Was that what we're going to do this time again? Zach Edey's back. Why are you back? I don't think he has. It's almost like when Oscar Tshiebwe came out to Kentucky. No disrespect to him, I like him a lot. But with Zach Edey coming back, it's like, what is there left to do? Matt Painter is not the guy to get you to a Final Four. Matt Painter is an overrated head coach. I'm sorry, he is. The best chance he had with a Final Four in the last several years was the 2018-19 Purdue team with Carson Edwards. I do miss that team, by the way, I will be honest, because they were a fun team to watch. But oh my gosh. They have basically the same supporting cast back. Their defense was at times non-existent last year. Full court pressure got to them. What is it going to be like this year? Don't even know. 2 is Duke. It's pretty obvious. Duke, mainly the big topic with this team is Kyle Filipowski and Jeremy Roach, because these are the 2 veterans in the team. With the also having 2 first-rounders in the backcourt, the sophomore Tyrese Proctor and Jared McCain. This is a team that could be real efficient with the ball. Because Duke was getting real hot last year, at the end of last season. Then they got smoked by Tennessee. I mean, they got bullied in that game. There's no question about it. But Duke is really going to have one of the best interior offenses in the country, especially when it comes to Filipowski. Their defense, I don't think their defense, I thought was pretty solid last year at times. Like, we'll see. This John Shire, he's got something wrong with Duke. I think Duke should be a top 10 team for a good chunk of the season at least. And number 1 is Kansas. There's no shot. Kansas is, and I agree with this, Kansas should be number 1. Because they got DeJuan Harris, Kevin McCullough, and Hunter Dickinson. KJ Adams, this is a team that has national championship written all over it. But here's the thing. There have been 3 times where Kansas has been the number 1 team, and they have bowed out early in all 3 of those times. So, you know, only time will tell. But Kansas could have a season where they're like 32-2 easily. This is a team that, if they can really establish dominance and rebounding especially, I mean, good lord. All right, my watch list this season. Let's kind of speed things up. Well, I tried to pick mainly teams outside of the top 10 for this. I don't want to consider these like my dark horses, but other teams I'm watching, especially this season in general. Well, Creighton's going to be one of them. I think this is a little biased because I like Creighton a lot. But Creighton's versatility on offense is going to be a problem for a lot of teams. Their basketball transitioning, I think, is going to be really, really good. It just depends on if they can stay consistent scoring-wise, because there were times last year where they couldn't score for minutes on end. So we'll see. I feel like we're going to have more continuity with this team this year. Next team is Texas A&M. I love the fact that Texas A&M has everyone back. Wade Taylor IV is going to be great for this team. And then having a great front court with Julius Marble and Henry Coleman III. As long as Texas A&M can avoid repeating what they did last season, especially at the beginning of the season, especially, and being continuously solid at the very least all year, helps them a lot. A&M could honestly win the SEC this year. It's possible. I wouldn't be shocked. Next team I'm watching is USC. Again, USC is a team that could become a real threat to make a deeper run than you think. Because, again, if Brian James comes back, then USC can do a whole lot, even more, on offense than they probably already can. So with the experience of like Boogie Ellis and those guys, and then Brian James with his athleticism, you're going to get an explosive combination, essentially. Colorado is a team I think some people are not looking at very, very much. They have Tristan Da Silva, they have Eddie Lampkin. Their front court's going to be pretty tough to stop, to override. Colorado, like, I watched them play a little bit last season. You can kind of see them. You can kind of see it a little bit coming. Like, if they had kept, like, being like, oh, if they keep these people next year, then here we are. Several months later, we're talking about them right here in this video. Colorado, yeah, I like this team. And they could be defensively pretty decent, too. We'll see. Maryland, simple as this. They have 3 of their main starters back. Their perimeter offense is going to be really good. I even find their perimeter defense to be efficient at times, too. So, yeah, Maryland, we'll see. And then St. John's. St. John's, of course, St. John's with the I think part of it lies with coaching, especially. They have Jordan Dingle, their projected starting lineup according to ESPN. Is Jordan Dingle, Dennis Jenkins, Glenn Taylor, Chris Ledlam, and Joe Soriano. I would say at the very least you'll have a team that can play defense. I think at the time they'll have some defense. But we'll see how that kind of goes. So, guys, I appreciate you watching. Stay tuned for more videos throughout the season. Again, you better subscribe because I'm going to have a lot for you guys with this stuff. Thank you guys for watching, and let's get on with first week of college basketball starting this week. I'll catch you guys soon.